What is up? Workbringer here, and today we're going to jump right into a Necrotic Wake +7. It is Tyrannical week, so bosses. This is boss week, essentially. Bosses are hard. Next week, trash will be hard again. I think that's how it goes. And it's also bolstering, which does not very much on small pulls, hasn't been an issue. But it is also storming. Oh boy, there's the tornadoes. And what's interesting about this run for me is that before this one, I did a +7 with another group. There were a bunch of red flags with that group, and I can say what they are in a second. And long story short, we did not time it. We left in the middle. The healer left, was like, nope, goodbye. After a couple attempts, it was just a big no. And the red flag was that I walked into Necrotic Wake and there were mobs attacking me. That's one red flag. People do butt pull into this first pack of whatever that we already killed. And yeah, they were attacking me. And it was the leader of the group. And then the leader of the group ran out of the instance and then DC'd for a little bit. Also not a good sign. And then they came back and we started doing it. I kind of hard carried the first boss, which is hard to explain as a tank, but there's things that the group can help with. And if they don't, I do them. And I basically hard carried the first boss, and then into the second boss, the group leader. What I'm taking is that they were like undergeared for a +7 and just giving it a shot. Like they did a +5, right? But they're probably like 182 or something like that, and they're like, oh, I'll try a +7 because they up two chested like a 5 or something. Big jump from 5 to 7, and they were not putting out very good DPS either, and it was a mess. It didn't go well. So this has turned into an Omega pull, and that's what tornadoes do, but I'm popping all the cooldowns, and it's a pretty low stakes wipe, but I don't like wiping. So I popped all the cooldowns. You see I Divine Shielded a while back, into Guardian, into Ardens, which is a cheat death, and look, we're all alive. I think did I bop anybody? I definitely Hand of Sacrifice someone. But that's an Omega pull, but it's a quick way to get 20 count. Like that's a big pull for a +7. On Fortified, we would have been double dead and people probably would have left. But what happens on tornadoing, storming, is that you get popped up in the air. And if you were like kind of walking in one direction, I think it kind of amplifies your momentum and it just pushes you into the next pack. And thus explains my methodology for clearing this room. I've had people, and it's always melee DPS. Let me just put it this way. It's always melee DPS who are like, hey, we don't need to kill this. I'm like, really? As the tank in the first room, as a melee DPS, you know what route we're going? I mean, here it's actually pretty linear, but I was like, you're a melee DPS, and you're telling me how much trash to pull. Because on the last time you did this, you didn't pull this one. That doesn't mean we don't have to pull it. You've no idea what route this is, and I'm not going to explain it on a pug. Unless it's like super odd. Anyway, just getting that off my chest. It's always melee DPS. They just want to run in and whirlwind everything. This room on Tyrannical, and especially a 7, and with storming, is everything in the room can get pulled. Someone ice trapped that. I think I called for the ice trap. You know, it's not like that's a dangerous mob. Honestly, the Corpse Harvester is the one to CC. But I just picked the one on the edge because, like, let's not push our luck. But the less mobs, I believe, the less tornadoes. And this Stitched Vanguard and that Corpse Harvester, is he dead already? Yeah, he's dead. He does, like, a must interrupt, like, it drops a dot on everyone, so he's priority target. And then this Patchwork, he just takes a minute. Oh, no, we got oh, that's just Meat Shield. That's not a big deal. That's just more DPS. It's just nice to take some out of the equation. If possible, just simplify the pull on a 7, and we made a lot of time on that first pull. It cost me every cooldown I have, but we lived it. And if you die, and you release, you're right back at the platform, which is why I pulled the trash back to the platform. On top of not wanting to pull anything else, I was like, hey, it's like you just release, you're right here, no big deal. So that's Necrotic Wake. It's kind of forgiving, even on Fortified. So, yeah, I kind of tell them I'm clearing this whole room, and that's not like the normal thing. Like, especially on Fortified, you do not want to clear the whole room because this trash takes so long. Like, this would take twice as long, right, easily. And it's just a whole thing. And we might even have to CC the Corpse Harvester every time. At the higher keys, it depends on how much DPS we're putting out. But it's actually a bit too cautious, perhaps, which I think is fine into Pug. Because everyone in this group is ranged. And the other comp I ran before this with Storming was like all melee. And I'm like, and who's putting together all melee +7s on Storming? I'm like, that's not the move. I think it was all melee. This is quite the opposite to BM Hunters, which I think BM Hunter is like my favorite. Fire Mage is really my favorite, but like BM Hunter's uptime through Storming is 100% because I don't think their pets get blown up in the air. So that their beast more or less is just giving them the business no matter what. 24/7 uptime. All their spells for the most part can be cast instantly. And yeah, pretty consistent AoE damage and pretty consistent single target damage. I'm trying to pull him into like the, or I guess I'm not, but I should be pulling him into that silence field that the Boomkin puts down. But there's tornadoes, so I gotta do what I gotta do. Anyway, out of an abundance of caution because I've seen this go the wrong way. And on the boss is the real issue. Again, anxious melee DPS are like, why is there so much trash? I hate that comp. I'm like, dude, then tank. Switch from Fury to freaking Prot and show me the routes. Show me the routes. You don't got routes. You got nothing. Anyway, I'm moving on. Havocs never say that to me. No Demon Hunter has. Demon Hunters are lovely people. They're lovely, lovely people. We get the Kyrian buff, and boy, do we need it. Now, everyone, I'm not sure how the Kyrian buff works out. Look at the 2 Bullwinkle pets. Man, World of Warcraft is about rogues, and it's about hunters. it's the best. Okay, so we're going to, and I would also say Paladin. We got to nuke these. If you're in a +7 and you're not automatically focusing those, nice Typhoon, love it, then please get out. But I do remind people. So I've got a lot of room to kite here, and I'm like going up here. So if you're like real careful and you're being like all min-maxy about the trash, like you need to be very cautious here. And with Storming or just any little butt pull, you've now got a pack with the boss. And on Tyrannical, not lovely. Yeah, see, there's a tornado. That tornado could just throw... look at the tornado's right on the moose. That moose don't care about tornadoes. It just gives us a big playground to down this boss. And Boomkin, BM Hunter, Boomkin's bursting to 4.7, like Convoke the Spirits, almost guaranteed it. I didn't look at it, but, Convoking the Spirits out of the gate strong. And then BM Hunter both just sitting there 3.5 whole time. Very high. Very nice. Smooth damage. Very consistent. I can almost put comps together based on it. Bursted up to 4 for the Z BM Hunter. And this boss is down in half the time it took me to kill it in my last group. So that's a thing. I'm like, oh, maybe we didn't need to clear out the trash. But I don't know this group, I ran a +4 with my guild, and my guild is mostly focused on heroic raiding. They just do Mythic Pluses for fun and for some loot, Mythic Plus loot chance is much higher than your raid clearing heroic. You're going to get nothing. You might get 1 piece if you're lucky, depending on how it goes for you. And that group, because they all play together. We weren't on voice because it was a +4 Tyrannicide, like whatever, like big deal. Oh God, look at all the tornadoes. There's so much that can go wrong with those tornadoes if everyone's melee. If everyone's melee, somebody is going to get that tornado and pull that pack to the left and those blight bags. And those blight bags, I think, explode. I forget. But with a comp, this is my comp. I'm not going to lie. And I've read about this comp. And yeah, it's Prot Pal. A lot of people like Death Knight for Tyrannical because they're a little bit more self-sustained for the bosses. Like the boss fights go for a very long time and they're just like death striking it. We get the skip, which is cool, but then I'm like, you know what? Nah, let's just get it. Because I'm not sure. On +10, this is a big no-no. Because you need to stick to the route or the Pridefuls spawn poorly. But this I've made part of my pug route because I'm like, if we run back, I don't want to pull it. If we get tornadoed by the next pack, I don't want to pull it because of this Marauder. Now the Marauder melts because I've macroed my targets and whatnot. And again, ranged has like on demand. These Beast Mastery Hunters are like, where do you want me to put my 3.5k single target? I think I pulled them out of the beam. Sorry, there's tornadoes. Like, it's like, where do you want to put this 3.5k damage on him? Okay, cool. And then they die. You want to put it on him? 3.5 consistent, and then they die. It's lovely. I've got the anime ball, and we were talking strategy about the spear, but basically people don't do it. Pug life. But I do the spear, and then I'm doing big deeps out here, like 15k just sitting here, and it's also chain stunning everybody. So that ball is for this pack, because this dude still almost kills me, the main guy in here, and this is not fortified, and this is still a +7 big boy. So yeah, +7 necrotic on next week is gonna be this pack needs to die. It's like you lust on this pack to kill him down. But if there's not tornadoes, we'll see if it's even worse next time. I guess the spirits are worse. This is my second week of ever really doing Mythic Plus, so I'm experiencing all these new affixes one by one. But yeah, this is not fortified, and it takes a long time to kill him, and we have like pretty much like 3k average, if not a little bit higher, DPS from everybody. So I have my strats for this room pretty easy. I'm like, go get that spear. Like, what the hell? Get this spear. It's huge damage and damage debuff. So you pull one, and then the other one you give the hammer, and then they just sit there and you cleave them on top of each other like that. And this is more of like, but then I remember, oh yeah, tornadoes. If I had fallen off, I would have been so sad there. But imagine this pull. Okay, I think someone gets that, right? Imagine this pull with all these tornadoes, and it's all melee DPS. What can happen will happen. So it's just not good. I don't care if you're like 7k burst rogue in this thing. It's like you're still gonna eat these tornadoes. But yeah, look at them. They're like 30 feet away, and I'm just the one. But anyway, this is a comp that I've read about as a meta. I don't have shields, so I'm just walking in slowly. I think someone went to get the spear. We're good. I can solo this pack for a very long time. But Prot Paladin, when I'm doing it right, I have like 4 to 5 interrupts in a row if things go well. So I've got Rebuke, I've got Hodge if they're stunnable, I've got a shield, especially if I hold it. I usually pull it. The shield can proc to come back faster. It's a 12-second reload, and I have Divine Toll. So that's a lot. I say 5 because it's really 4, but my Avenger shield can sometimes reproc faster, especially if I wear the proc legendary, which I don't love at all. I very much like my Shield the Righteous one. I'll pick up the hammer, but this is part of my account usually in this pack, and I'm actually not too concerned about it because this is, again, we're not fortified, so the trash, I'm like, we just kill it, right? We skip like the mini boss, the Vortex dude. I stun the Marauder for a very long time, and he's just going down. He's the most dangerous because he fears everyone. Like, there it is. Yeah, instantly interrupt. He instantly tried to cast it, and I got him right in the face. And I still have my other interrupt after. And yeah, just simple clearing that down using the tool right there to just slow down what I consider the most dangerous mob as we go. And these, you just AoE them down. I don't know why they're here. They're just free count. Now, they do spawn a lot of tornadoes. I take it back. That's a lot of tornadoes. Can you imagine if that was just all warriors in there? I'm starting to not like warriors. Not love a warrior, but, had my moments as well. But what I will say about warriors is when I want a warrior comp, at least one, is Halls of Atonement, which I might make a video about. I kind of want to do a +8 halls now, or 9, almost ready for 10s, even on Tyrannical. Don't find that dungeon hard at all. Doing the count precisely in a pug, I'm like, I don't know. I think for my first pug 10, I'd rather do the 10 with my guild for the first time, to be honest, and do voice comms. So the healer who knows what they're doing can help me a little bit with count. It's just that if you butt pull or pull imprecisely on a +10, Prideful comes at a weird time, and you don't have the buff. And groups that know what they're doing are like, ugh, and maybe get angry and want to leave or something. Someone speared him. You're supposed to save the spear for the boss. It's big brain, but whatever. That's why the aggro got instantly taken from me, even though I gave him everything. It's shield into, double shield, A shield, S shield. What? How did I lose threat? It's look at the Boomkin's damage. It's gave him 100k at the face or something. But yeah, with plus 10, oh, I was saying about warriors is that warriors are like 80% Venthyr. So it's pretty consistent if I'm putting together a group, because I'm 204 now and I'm kind of expecting 200 plus. To be honest, that's the group I want. So if I see like a 198 or 200 something warrior, I'm like, that warrior is Venthyr, and you're gonna give me my gargoyle so that I can triple pull. Kind of like in the beginning of this one. Again, it doesn't work for Prideful. All right, it's more just like these kind of like simple under 10 runs. You can just pull the whole courtyard and pull both gargoyles and just destroy everything. So let's talk about this boss. This is the Pug Wiper, which I wasn't expecting this one to be the Pug Wiper, in my opinion. This is the boss that ended the last group. It was just not going to happen. And we do this first part so clean. And looks like the Beast Mastery Hunter popped some sort of cooldown. Something happened. 5k, cool. So with this fight, there's only one thing to do. There's two things. The two things are kill all of the ads that spawn immediately. All of them immediately. The longer they're alive, the stronger they make the boss. And then if they're alive when he does Final Harvest, we all die eventually, right? So that one down there, we're kind of doing it on this one. I'm not sure why we die so hard on this. Oh, that's why. You see how the ads are still alive? Bad. Very, very, very bad. Here's the second thing. Don't stand in the frontal. And if you do, run to the left, right? Because if you run to the right, you're going to get hit by it multiple times. Final Harvest, how much damage do we take? Killed the healer almost, right? And that's because the mobs live for so long, right? So it's a mechanic that like not everyone knows. And at higher keys or lower keys, you just whatever. You Final Harvest and it doesn't hit as much, right? Like the damage is lower because it's just a lower key, and you're like, oh, whatever. It's a mechanic that not everyone knows, and I've been learning it this week. I'm taking big damn, no cooldowns left, and because all these ads are still here, it's big rips. Plus, look at the health. We could lay on hands everyone. When he Final Harvest, it's going to be like full. It would probably one-shot me through Guardians or something like that, right? This Final Harvest, dude's still alive. It's big rip. I should just stand there and just take it. Yeah, so we wipe. Pretty rough. But I want to show this for Necrotic Wake 7, which there's not, in my opinion, there's really no reason to go to an 8 and 9 because the gear is not that much better, and there's just not much reason to. Same affixes, it's just the bosses are a little bit harder. I mean, I guess if you want to push it for your weekly chest, it's cool, but like end of dungeon loot, it's not all that different. So that's for me because I'm not doing 10s with my guild or pugging them yet. Just don't feel like it. The pain, you know. I really honestly think 10s are going to only be for like groups, like either with my guild or with I'm starting to slowly grow a friends list from people that I like from these type of runs and whatnot. And it'll really just be for people like that or someone else's guild. Like I make friends with someone and they're in a guild and I'm like, let's run with your guild on Discord, right? Like that's something that's fine for a plus 10 because if it's not coordinated, it just seems like it's going to be frustrating. Anyway, I'm talking strat with the hunter contingency over here, and I'm like, kill the ads immediately, or we don't time this. It's what it is. I was like, if those ads, as like every second an ad is alive is 1 second closer to wiping again. That's it, right? Just like doubling down on it. Not even like, okay, good lust, but like not even like don't get the don't worry about the frontal. The frontal's bad, but that's just flat damage to you. The ads is damage to everybody. So it's like kill them now, kill them hard, find them, like don't attack, don't cleave them off the boss, kill them. Single target, bust your cooldowns, kill them. Okay, so because of whatever the timings, I have no cooldowns, but it's not a big damage fight for me, again, unless the ads are there. Or if I'm not, if I'm small branding it and I'm eating the frontal, which does happen every once in a while. Like I'm chasing after an ad and it's just like, guess what, frontal? There you go. And the tornadoes, where I'm standing, I'm like, I just don't have that much room to dodge tornadoes. I'm just bringing them back to the middle. I don't know if there's a way of like guaranteeing where they spawn by like where you place him. There's got to be some algorithm. I don't know it. This is pretty rounded up, so we're actually pretty lucky. They're all round. They're like all right together, and then we can cleave, like Beastmaster cleave. You know, pretty good. That was, I think that like somewhat fortunate grouping. Is someone gonna die to this? Yeah. See how far away they are. See how far away the. Yeah. Oh, he does die. Oh, I remember this now. Oh boy. The title for this video, I haven't thought of it exactly, but it's I get a nice reward at the end, and that's what I'm kind of happy about as a Prot Paladin. And anyone who is a Prot Paladin is going to be pretty would love to have what I got from this. So it's like that's kind of what I'm wanting to lead with. But this is also a down to the wire finish of this place and this boss. Oh boy. Oh boy, we did battle res. Okay, GG all the druids in this group. Double druid. Yeah, I've heard of comps where you have 4 druids and you can just res. You just res constantly. OB. Okay, so that's me taking a frontal and everyone taking a frontal. It's going to hell. Basically, this hunter's been over here tanking like a bunch of ads, which as they should be, but tanking them, and yeah, everyone dies. But we got the 1%. Can we do it? Pop Ardens, dude. Oh, thank God. Ardens gives me 8 seconds if I can't die. I just cannot die from one shot. And I had hands left. But yeah, that was real down to it. And that's with what I would consider my ideal comp, to be honest. Maybe it would be good to go... Again, like me as a Prot Pal, I just want all ranged. I'm sorry. I would take a Demon Hunter, to be honest. Like if I had a ranged, I would take a Havoc. I know people talk crap about Havoc right now, but I've had nothing but great experiences with Havoc players. Maybe they're just always geared or something like that, but they are on-demand threat, and then I'll be like, stun these people. They have AoE stun, and they just fly around real quick and don't get hit by mechanics, and I just like them. It's from experience. I mean, I was going to main Demon Hunter too, but I just from experience have never really been angry at a Demon Hunter. But if it was melee, I would take a Demon Hunter. I didn't want to grab these actually, and I have a very hard time getting aggro back. I didn't want to grab these because again, they're just going to spawn a lot of tornadoes, but they get butt pulled. You have to really understand the pull pattern from this place to stay in the corner. So whatever, nothing too much of an issue. But I think my ideal comp, especially on Tornado Week, on Tornado Watch, is me Prot Pal. I've got a ton of silences. They've got some. I would like a Boomkin for all of the... First of all, like convoke the spirits of burst damage. That's nice. They have Ursul's Vortex. They have Typhoon, if they're balanced. And they're going to have Treants, I think. They've got a lot of... They've got Root. They've got so much utility for CCs. Plus off heals. Plus Big Damn in AoE and single target when they have Convoke. It's like they are very, very, very good. And they run around fast. They can travel for them. I've played Druid. I like Resto quite a bit. This is a sketch pull, but I get it. That could have easily turned into a double, and I don't have Divine Shield, so very sketch, but we wiped, so we need to go. We need to go. Anyway, first pick, Balanced Druid. Now, for a Balanced Druid to know how to optimize all of the little things they have, and for me to be able to call it out, which I have macroed now, that's a lot of work. But Typhoon itself and Ursul, there's just so much. They might not have both. I forget what's the talent and what's baseline. I think Typhoon's baseline, and you have to talent. But anyway, Boomkin, Big Damn, ranged, lots and lots of CC utility. Love it. Next, I would take a Fire Mage. I just did a guild run with a Fire Mage, and Fire Mages are like BFA file mages. Not from what I hear. I didn't really play much BFA, but I know they were like the meta at the end. And boy, they're the meta again. They are AoE burst, single target burst, combustion burst. Things just die really quickly in fiery death. Look, that's the Boomkin silence field, right? Like, what? So much utility. Oh my god. Let's just take a tornado. No, I didn't. Man, tornadoes. Why did I force myself in this corner? I should be cutting them away. Oh, I tried to bring him back to the silence field. But yeah, Fire Mage for just big deeps. They have an immunity, which is nice for a lot of fights, like miss a turn of Scythe. ice block the fox, and I think that you can do that. There's ice block cheeses a lot of things that kills other classes. Pretty nice, pretty mobile with the blinkety blink. I haven't come across anything where I'm like, we have to use blink or we die. Like you have to blink this or we die. But I'm sure there's things like that. So Fire Mage, Boomkin, and then one of the hunters. And although Marksman is like the big damn, big damage meta right now, and I was considering maining Marksman, and it's a lot of fun, you still have to hard cast, sit down, and hard cast aim shot. And that's rough. That's rough. And honestly, I think, unless they're like incredible, like they're just so good, like they're still pulling off aim shots when you have to move every 2 seconds. Just the consistency of a Beast Mastery Hunter. Those pets don't care about affixes. They just kill everything. And it's really good. Now I'm dying. Now what's actually happened here, normally that's bad, and I taunted back, but I realized the hunters have taunted with their pets to let me drop my stacks. I've got no more tenderized stacks. And I'm like, oh, that's some good stuff right there. Now, I want to also add into the mix of classes that I enjoy playing with. Again, it's more about the player. If you're not wiping to mechanics and you're just doing your job of like 3k DPS or whatever, like it doesn't matter. But who I've had positive experiences with as well are Shamans. Enhance or Ellie, long as you're pulling 3-ish, in a dungeon like this. Great. They've got Cap Totem, I think it's called. I always hear Growl call it. I forget what it's actually called, but when I put down X, which is Control 2 for me, it says Stun X, as in don't interrupt, like stun them, like stop them, right? If I'm kiting, if it's a dangerous one, if there's a cast that everyone should kind of know about at this point that's really bad, I'm thinking Loyal Beasts, the Cap Totem comes down and the whole pack gets stunned. And I'm like, oh, I didn't mean everybody, but cool. That just feels good as a tank, man. I'm like, Control 2, boom, everyone stops moving. That's Shaman. Now the Druids also have a battle res. I think all Druids have rebirth, right? Something like that. So that's pretty cool. And I think right now the pets are tanking gore for me, and that's huge. That's big brain. Now I don't want their pets to die, right? Because if your pet dies as BM, it's like a 3-second cast. But like I didn't let stacks fall off, but I'm not feeling like I'm so dead to this one. I forget if I regret that, because yeah, my stack's 4. I'm not loving life, but I am over 50k. I think I'm like 51 or 52k health when I get up there, with the fort buffs right now, and I run, and then the pets take it back. That's incredible. That's really nice. So the other thing Shamans have, this is what reminded me, is they have the Earth Ellie. And I don't know if that's a talent. I don't know if that's something. Oh, it comes tenderized into the back. Ouch, tenderized my back. But the taunters, right? So Druid and Ellie both kind of have that like stun utility and tank pressure relief utility, which is pretty awesome. And in general, range is just a little bit easier for these dungeons. That's all it is. I honestly haven't been feeling the utility of Rogue all that much. I know that I should be, but I'd almost never call out saps. I don't like sap skips that really sketch, because you sap like the closest mob and you skirt around it. I don't like that, because then if you wipe, or you're like, it's not reliable. And then shroud skips too, unless it was guild shroud skips. I'm not shroud skipping a pug, because we're not talking. Like, just not gonna do it. And it just turns into like an omega pull, because you're like shrouding through like 3 groups or something, and you pull all of them. It's just a wipe on pug. I don't trust it, so I don't have a ton of. I haven't even run with that many rogues right now. I thought they were going to be like super meta, but I don't really run them all that much. And I must say, Havoc Demon Hunter, man, maybe it's because it's simple. Like, people are like, oh, it's such a simple spec, but like, it's simple, so they're not dying to mechanics like everybody else is. All the other melees are. I don't know. We do get the boss down, which is lovely. We were talking about if we have the DPS to one phase it, meaning we'd kill them right here. But I think we all pretty much agree that like we do not. And the big deeps for sure, but not Fire Mage or Shadow Priest big deeps. Oh no, does he die? No, okay, he lived. Nice, yeah. That is big damage if he comes near you. But Fire Mage Fire Mage and Priest are like 9k single target when they like crit, drop all the cooldowns. And certain fights like this, that's pretty high priority. If you're trying to single phase it, but as long as the DPS understand the mechanic, then we're okay. I'd also say on the whole that the range DPS understand the mechanics better. I mean, I'm a melee tank, like, don't get me wrong, and I was gonna do Demon Hunter tank and Venge tank and then Havoc main. Okay, so I like melee. I like Warrior. If Warrior was like just a little bit, I don't know, something. If Warrior was just a little bit something else, I love Warrior too. Warrior is my main in Cataclysm, I think. I forget. I guess I had a bunch. I didn't really raid or do anything too difficult, so I think I had like a bunch of characters. But I played a lot of Warrior. Like, I know Prot Warrior pretty well. I know it's probably changed a lot. Look at me taking big damage out here. Sketch kill. I mean, not really, but someone's dead. I got kind of low health at the end. Maybe we're just getting lazy. Once the health bar is single digit, we're just like, okay. Healer's got full health, so it's not too sketch. But 4 minutes 30 seconds. Oh yeah, I died, so I lost all my buff. Sad. Taking it in. This fight, I'm not afraid of. It's just a mechanics fight. And with tornadoes and melee, I haven't done this a +7 with a melee comp. I'm just like, no, thank you. I'm like, I hope they send the melee downstairs on this fight. It's just so bad because what happens by third phase is that there's 2 ice pools on the ground. So basically half this stage is filled up and you can't stand on it. And then everyone who's alive is going to essentially have comets dropped on them. And then there's going to be tornadoes. So it's just not good. It's not good. So I'm doing the run around the boss dance. This is another thing with melee is that, they're going to try to do something similar. And so I can't do my run around dance where when it's all hunters and boomkins, I can just be right here and they're all far away from me and I just get to do whatever I want. And this is a pretty good comp. Maybe just switch one hunter for a fire mage and I'm like, we are going to down some bosses today. Somebody gets hit. Some people do have to hard cast, so there's that. But I don't think there was any harrowing moments in this fight. I don't remember. But this is Tyrannical +7, and it's all about boss mechanics. You got to know the boss mechanic. You got to love the boss mechanic. And you need to prioritize it. And you know what? Dungeon's always been that way, is the other side. The other side on normal. If you don't know the mechanic, you get one shot by Muzala. You just die. It's like, what's all this green stuff? What are these portals? Oh, I'm dead. To some degree, the Venari type boss, the Collector or whatever they're called, the Stygia person. I don't know what those things are called. That one with the bomb mechanic, depending on the healer and people's health pools, that's also one shot. In some cases, if you don't go, if you let the bomb go off like in the middle of the group, or if someone like triggers like too many of the portals and like 4 people don't have portals or something like that. I'm looking at you warriors, by the way. It's melee DPS who are just like running through the portals beforehand. That's pretty wipey. The other side is very much that type of mechanic, and then Spires of Ascension has the big dome, and that you have to get into at the end, and then also I guess there's a bunch. There's a bunch of these one-shot mechanics, but still, they've been fairly forgiving on Fortified. But again, Tyrannical is like, hey, we're gonna do these boss mechanics a bunch, so you better be really good at them. And that one mechanic that trips people up on this place is kill the ads Omega fast, or it's Omega wipe. And people don't get that because it's like a delayed thing. It's not like the ad that kills you like the Gorgers do at the beginning. Hey, we got it. Right, the first fight, it's the Gorgers that hurt you. It's actually delayed damage later, so people don't know all the time. So we +1 it with like a minute left. Sketch. Sketch, not a confident one, but I get my BIS 200 one-hand weapon POG. Congrats to me. Thank you, my meta comp for storming. Lovely 200. I'm not going to get a better weapon this week, because I'm not pushing into 10s. That's my weapon, and I got it. Hooray. I have so much gear now that 200 level gear is not very exciting, really. It's like I think I have like 4 slots left, and that was one of them, where 200's cool. There's just so many other ways to get above 200 gear at this point that it's I'm just running them for fun. I'm just gonna run a ton of 7s. So swapping it over, that's nice. 204.06, 204. That's the highest number I've honestly seen in Shadowlands so far. I'll see you on the next video.